What's up, everybody? What's good? It is your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha, and I represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Furthermore, and to all the single fathers who have to be the mothers. Also, want to give a big ups to all of you single fathers out there. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. There's not enough men who get credit for having to raise these children by themselves because let's face it. It's a lot of men out here that are single fathers, and it's so unfortunate that a lot of single men do not get the credit that they deserve as far as being single dads. We're always giving single mothers a standing ovation, and we want to give them all these props, all these praises, and all of this recognition when it comes to these single mothers, but very rarely do we address these single fathers, and I know plenty of them who have had to wear both shoes. I mean, sometimes the mothers of these children are strung out on drugs, are incarcerated, and basically, some of these women have gotten themselves in bad positions to where a man has had to step up and do it all by himself. So I definitely want to give a big ups to all of the single fathers as well on Happy Mother's on this Mother's Day as well. Thought it was very imperative that I did this particular content, being that it is Mother's Day, and I felt it was very imperative that this content be did because as Black women, if you are a mother, and especially if you have a daughter, I always say, that Black women, we cannot raise men how to be men. We just can't do it. This is not to say that you're not qualified or that you are not capable of being able to be a good single mom. But the truth of the matter is, women, we cannot raise men. We cannot raise them. There's going to be things that your son is going to go through as a Black man that you're not going to be able to relate to. You're not going to be able to give him all the strategies. You're not going to be able to prepare your Black sons for what they're really up against out there. You can try to guide them to a certain degree, but you can't really teach them all the ropes. What's up to Nolan, Met V, Nadia, everybody who's coming into the chat room? Happy Mother's Day to the single dads and to the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. Appreciate y'all for coming on in. Yeah, appreciate it. I thought it was, the reason why I was doing this content is because I'm telling you, as Black women, you have to realize that we have become society's mockery. We have become the joke of society. And you have to realize nowadays, as a Black woman, you're going to have to work 20 times harder to get your respect. What's up, Craig? Yes, raw truth, no condom. As a Black woman, you're going to have to put in overtime to get your respect. Now, I'm not doing this content because I want Black men to bow down to Black women, and you ought to respect and appreciate Black women, because the truth of the matter is not all of us are carrying ourselves as respectable black women. So I'm not saying that you're supposed to respect a black woman because she's black. But it is important that black women need to realize the truth of the matter is we are becoming the mockery of society. We are becoming the joke. If you really pay attention and look around to everything that's going on in the YouTube streets. The majority of these content creators, the majority of them that are males, and I'm not saying all black men in the YouTube streets are doing it. You have some brothers out there that has really good content and good material. They don't always just address the female, uckery, as they would say. It's not a lot of black men that are on that tip. There are plenty of them that are discussing things that are way more important, like politics. They're addressing things that are very helpful and very effective for the black community. But the truth of the matter is, the majority of these men that do the content about the black female uckery, that's basically they've learned that in order to continue to get their brand to grow, to get their channel to grow, is to just constantly make a mockery of black women, because it's a lot of people that's going to support that movement, and I can't knock anybody's hustle. What's up, Sadia? What's good, everybody? To all y'all coming in here, happy Mother's Day to the single fathers, and also happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. But yeah, as I was stating earlier, if you're a black woman, you're going to have to work 20 times harder to gain your respect, and not only gain it, to keep it. Because the truth is, there are a lot of sisters out here. There's a lot of ratchetness going on. There's a lot of sisters that are not carrying themselves as queens. So what's starting to happen is, the black women who are trying to be respectable, black women who are trying to carry themselves as real women, we're going to be overlooked the most. If we're not being overlooked, we're going to be disrespected because of the way the other sisters, these other righteous sisters, have been handling themselves and carrying themselves. We're going to be disrespected because of that. Because the truth is, no matter how different you try to be, um they're going to always put us in that same box as black women. Just be prepared. I don't care how different you try to be. It doesn't matter if you got college degrees. It doesn't matter if you've never been raised in the projects. It doesn't matter if you're not a single mom. You could be a black woman who got your stuff together. You could have a good job. You could have your career. You could have the college material, and somehow, in some way, in some form, they're still going to try to find a way to fit you in that box with the ratchet black women. They're going to find a way to put you in that box. Now, I'm not saying all black men are doing it, evidently, because if all black men felt that way, I wouldn't have black men coming in my chat room. I wouldn't have black men coming in on my panel. So I'm not saying all black men are doing it, or feel that way. But what I am saying is that we have a lot of brothers out here who are poisoning the black community, and they're poisoning other black men to put all black women into the same box. And unfortunately, because of that, as a black woman, it don't matter how great you are doing. It don't matter if you're not a single mom. It don't matter if you got 8 or 9 kids from different Pookie or Ray Rays. They're going to find a way to put you in the same box. It does not matter how hard you try to stand above the rest. They are going to fit you in that box. So just get ready. Thank you, Miss Liz, for the $2 donation. However, I would slightly disagree. There's so much negativity on black women and YouTube. Black men are so angry, and that's what I'm definitely saying. That's why I'm going, Miss Liz. And again, if it doesn't apply, you don't have to reply. I'm not saying all black men are doing this, because I'm married to a black man. So if I felt like all black men were the same, I would have never married a black man. So it'd be contradicted. It would be contradictory of me to even say anything bad about black men, because I'm married to a black man. But however, I will address certain black men, but not all black men are the same, just like all black women are not the same. I don't care how many Pookie or Ray Rays I dealt with in my past. I cannot put all black men into the same box. It just doesn't go that way. What's up, underrated darkness? It just doesn't go that way. But the sad part is, though, as a black woman, you're basically going to have to walk a straight and narrow path, because the moment you make a mistake, or the moment you do anything that's slightly ratchet, all of your credibility is going to be taken away from you. You could be a black woman for the most part. You did everything the right way. You went to school. You got a good job. You didn't have any kids from a Pookie or a Ray Ray. Um, you don't have a track record. You don't have a whole facts when you done where you done been through all type of different men. You know, you could have been one of these the type of black woman that did everything the right way. But the one time you make a mistake, or the one time you do something out of pocket, all of your good efforts, all of the good things that you have done is going to be erased. It's like an etch a sketch. If anybody ever remembers the etch a sketch toy. Um, the one time you make a mistake, everything you have done is not going to matter. And it's very unfortunate that even in these YouTube streets, I'm seeing that black women are not allowed to make mistakes. They're not allowed to be human, because the moment you make a mistake, they're going to call you out on it, ladies. These dudes are going to call you out. What's up, freelance? Good to see you. What's up, brother Rob? Good to see you. Again, and I'm not giving this content because I'm looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for, it's not about making black men sympathize with black women. It's not about making men understand black women. That is not my intent. That is not my job. I'm not trying to persuade or make a man feel anything. But what I'm saying is, for you black women out here, if you want to be respected, you're going to have to put in 20 times more work, because it's a lot of sisters out here that's making it look bad for all of us. It's sisters that are linking up with these Pookies and Ray Rays, and a lot of them, they're giving this content on YouTube, but they're living a totally different lifestyle behind closed doors. And that's the bad part. Sometimes you before you preach anything, you got to live what you preach. Because the moment that you do anything outside of what you preach, a lot of people are going to hold it against you. So you have to be very careful. Or if you're going to do something outside of what you preach, it's better for you to expose it versus letting other people expose it for you. Because if other people put you on blast, no matter what you say, it's not going to matter, because then they're going to feel like you're just trying to basically save face. So my thing is, if you're going to be a female content creator and you're doing something different from what you preach, you be the one to put it out there. Don't let somebody else get upset with you and they have that advantage to put it out there, because now you got to defend yourself. What's up, Queen M? Um, Black man, I have a lot to say about black women on YouTube, and some of it is true. But when you point a finger, you have three pointing, and you and I don't see any of them taking responsibility for anything. And see, this is a problem in the black community. Um, the problem that a lot of black women and a lot of black men have in the black community is, all of us really don't take 100% accountability for our actions. And it's not just a black woman problem. It's not just a black man problem. It's a black community problem. A lot of us have failed in taking accountability for our actions, because I say this all the time. If these Raggedy Anns are getting knocked up, and these ratchet bras are getting knocked up, they're not getting knocked up by themselves. It's these Pookie and Ray Rays. It's these same guys that go and support these channels that's anti-black women. They support these channels, but at the same time, they're still sleeping with these type of women. It's a lot of contradictory in these YouTube streets, because, again, like I tell a lot of people, and I said it in my other content, don't be so quick to be a fan of these YouTube content creators, because you don't know if they are really living what they preaching behind these channels, behind these keyboards. I could pretend to be whatever I want to be to get you to support my movement, to gain to get your donations, to earn you as a subscriber. I can tell you anything, and to get you to support my brand. So at the same token, I don't care how much good wisdom and knowledge people's feeding you on these YouTube streets. At the same time, have your own mind. Don't let people change your mindset, even when it comes to me. Even my channel, whatever knowledge or whatever wisdom I share with you, you don't have to take what I say wholeheartedly. At the same time, you got to learn for yourself, because people that are preaching to you, they're preaching to you things from their own personal standpoints, for their own negative perspective. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the single fathers who have had to be moms and dads, and also to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. So just keep in mind that even when you're supporting these YouTube streets, that you have your own mind. Don't get so hyped into being a loyal subscriber, that you lose your own thoughts, you lose your own way of thinking and way of reasoning when it comes to certain things. Now, the reason why I decided to do this content, really, what's up, Rep? Good to see you. Appreciate you for still being a loyal subscriber. Thank you for your presence. That's why I'm doing this content, for all the Black mothers out there who are raising Black daughters. It's very important as Black mothers that if you have a Black daughter, and the reason why I'm speaking on Black daughters because I personally feel that when it comes to sons, that's a whole different subject. I don't have a son, so I can't pinpoint and speak too much on that. But however, I do have a daughter, and I realize as a Black woman that it's very important that I shape my daughter, and I clothe her with knowledge, and that I basically implant into her all the wisdom she needs, because um Black women these days already are getting a very bad rap. We're catching a lot of heat. Unfortunately, we're being scorned, we're being made a mockery out of. Society is making a mockery out of Black women. And I've had to make sure my daughter was aware of what she's going to be facing when it's time for her to go out there into the real world. And me and her father, we're not always there to explain things to her or back her up. She needs to know certain things when she's out there on her own. Now, my daughter will be graduating this year. She 17, she'll be 18 at the end of May. So her graduation is next week. So I got a lot of family coming in town and stuff. What's up, Jay Shine? I have a lot of family coming in town to see her and to support her and everything. And the reason my daughter has made it this far, unlike, and I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, or because I could have very well fell into the same trap, but I know the trap that a lot of these Black women are falling into. We're getting knocked up by these Pookies and Ray Rays, and it's happening to so many young Black women. And a lot of these young Black women that are experiencing this, I can't really blame them 100%. But who I do blame is their mothers, because as a Black woman, if you are a mother, you already know how hard it is being a Black woman. So by you being neglectful and not preparing these young Black women, your daughters, for how to carry themselves to avoid the Pookies and to avoid the Ray Rays, that's a shame on you, because this is the time. It's time for us as Black women. We have to start raising our daughters. We cannot let them get out here in the world and let these streets start raising our daughters. We got to get a hold of them. And I honestly, I fought very, very, very hard to get this my daughter to this point to where she's able to graduate without any kids, um without becoming another statistic. And I fought hard for that, because I know all of the traps that are out there for Black women who lack knowledge, who lack wisdom. It's very easy as a Black woman to fall prey to these Pookies and Ray Rays out here, especially if you didn't have an older woman in your life that schooled you and taught you the difference between a man and a boy. And it's up to us as mothers. If you are a mother and you're raising a young Black daughter, this is the time you need to be instilling wisdom and knowledge into her. And I fought hard for that, because I knew what can happen, and I never was one of those type of women I felt like, oh, that can never happen to me. Oh, that'll never happen to me. I knew it could always happen to me, because I know that I'm a Black woman who is the mother of another young Black woman that's coming up into this harsh world, that's not going to have any mercy on her, that's not going to have any sympathy on her. So at a young age, when she was only 5, 6 years old, I've been preaching to my daughter and teaching her not to fall into the trap with the system, meaning the single mother system. And it's not that I'm knocking single mothers. I commend a lot of single moms. It's a lot of single moms out there that are handling their business. They're not um um using their single mother privileges to get food stamps, to get welfare, to get housing. You got some single mothers out here, they're doing this damn thing and they're making it happen. They're not complaining, they're not, you know, what bitching and moaning about child support. They don't care about none of that. They taking care of their children. They handling their business. They not going on these platforms bashing all black men because of the poor choices that they made. So I will commend these single black moms who are actually handling their business, and they're not allowing their poor choices to make them have so much animosity towards all black men. But these other groups, these other ratchet sisters who do not want to take accountability, who want to blame all five, six, seven, eight of their baby daddies for everything that ever went wrong in their life. These are the ones that I have an issue with, because these type of females, they're making it look bad for all of us as black women, those of us who are striving to be better, who are striving for greatness. They're making all of us look bad. And this is the reason why I constantly preach to my daughter, because she needs to realize, is I already know there's going to be other women out there that's going to try to influence her way of thinking, that's going to make her think it's okay to have all of these babies from different Pookies and Ray Rays. She's gonna and somehow, in some form or another, she's going to run into these type of females that's going to try to manipulate her into thinking it's okay to just be another statistics, because she may have friends. She got some friends that are already mothers and they're not even 18 yet. You know, she's going to school with other young women who are not even graduated from high school yet and already a mother. So it's that ratchet. It's going to always be that ratchet mentality surrounding her. And that is why, as her mom, I had to step in and intervene and show her that this is not normal. I don't care how much you see this in the YouTube streets. I don't care what none of these females out here say. Don't think that is cool to sit up here and get knocked up by these Pookies and Ray Rays and think your life is not going to suffer for it. Because it is going, you're going to suffer for it. And I have preached this to her daily. Now, with that being stated, the purpose of me doing this content is because, as black women, you're going to have to understand, society is not going to have any mercy on you. They're not having any mercy on you. They're not sympathizing with you. So the excuses, the soft stories, what you went through in your past, how things has affected you in your childhood, we can't keep using things that has happened to us as a crutch for us to not be wise and to not live our lives differently. That's not going to keep flying anymore. And the reason it's not going to keep flying anymore, because now YouTube has gotten a hold of the black female uckery. That's what's going on in YouTube streets. And basically what has happened is, we as black women, any poor choices we make is going to be discussed. It's going to be manifested. You're not going to be able, you're not going to be allowed to make any mistakes, because the moment that you do and it gets a hold of the right people, they are going to exploit you for it. I've seen too many women in these too many black women in these YouTube streets that have always preached certain things, and because of those things they preached, a lot of people are holding them to that standard. And as a black woman, you have to be careful in practice what you preach. You cannot preach one thing and then you go around here doing something else. Because the moment it is brought to these individuals' attention, they're going to make a mockery out of you. They're not going to let they're not going to let you forget it. Oh, I would definitely do that, Negro Network. Absolutely. Absolutely. As black women, you're gonna have to be very careful. You have to walk a straight line with how you carry yourself, because the moment any of these brothers see you get out of pocket, they're gonna nail you to the cross. They're gonna drag your name through the mud. So just be prepared as a black woman, especially if you decide to become a content creator on the YouTube streets, that you do not do anything the opposite of what you preach. Because I'm telling you, the moment somebody gets a hold of it, they are going to run with it. They are going to nail you to the cross. All of the good knowledge and all of the good wisdom, all of the good advice you've been giving people, it is not going to matter. The moment they catch you slipping and they see you do the opposite of what you preach, they're never going to let you forget it. And the problem is in the Black community is that we always want to highlight each other's issues. It's always Black women who want to highlight all the problems the Black men have. If it's not that, it's the Black men who constantly want to highlight the issues that Black women have. When the bottom line is we all got issues. Every last one of us. Whether you're a Black man, you're a Black woman, you got issues. Bottom line, we can sit up here and exploit each other all day, but the truth of the matter is, the way this world is, as a Black man and as a Black woman, if both of us was to apply for the same job position, we are both going to be judged the same. Okay, depending on who is behind that desk when they're interviewing us, they're going to view us both the same. Okay. So at the end of the day, we both share the same common struggles, which means that we have to prove that we are different from above the rest. The moment they feel that you are no different than the ones who they already got a stereotype about, they're going to write you off. And that is the way society works. Now, you be look at it tells you that you're going to hell, but then exactly freelance, exactly, and that's why we have to be very careful with what we practice and what we put out there. Um, you can't preach one thing and then you're doing something different because again, people are going to ridicule you for it. They're not going to let you forget it. So, to this topic about these Black mothers and daughters and the Pookie saga, it's unfortunate that for Black women within the Black community, with all of these poor examples that we see around us, some of us have still not waken up. Some of us as Black women, we are still hibernating. We're still sleeping. We're not catching on to what's really going on around us. And if you do not have anybody that's schooling you and feeding you with knowledge, you're going to fall into the same trap that these other sisters done fell in with this Pookie and Ray Rays. Now, I realize that the reason why there's so many young Black women that are getting pregnant and they're already falling into the system, and now they have put themselves in a position where they have to depend on the system, they have to depend on the stamps, they have to depend on the housing, they have to depend on the governmental assistance, is because whoever was their mother did not raise them. They're not raising them. It's a lot of young Black women around here, they're not being raised because their mothers are still doing them. You have some of these older Black women that's 40 and over that are still not teaching their daughters nothing. They're going to the clubs. They're still having different men come over to their house. They're still in the streets, doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And if you are a young Black woman and you have a mother that's not really a mother, you're already at a disadvantage. If you didn't have a Black woman to teach you morals, to teach you values, to teach you how to respect yourself, you're going to fall right into that same entrapment. And what happens is a lot of these young Black women, they are not getting attention from their Black mothers. A lot of them aren't. A lot of these Black women, young Black women, and when I say young Black women, they're under the age of 30. Their mothers are not teaching them anything. Their mothers are not preparing them and teaching them how to avoid the Pookies, how to avoid the Ray Rays. Their moms are not sitting down and talking to them and telling them. For one, it's little things as mothers that we have to prepare our daughters for. For instance, at a young age, my mom taught me a lot. For one, my mom taught me a lot. She taught me how to avoid getting caught up by better males, getting pregnant by better males. My mom schooled me. She didn't paint a lovely picture. She taught me the harsh reality of what I can get myself into if I decided to make those type of choices. She prepared me for that. Not only did my mom prepare me logically wise, she made sure she gave me the protection I needed. So in the event that if I were to not listen and go the opposite way, at least I still wouldn't get caught up. And the thing about it is, That's the only reason I was able to give my daughter knowledge, because my mom gave me knowledge. A lot of black women in the community, the reason why a lot of them are lost, because their mothers was lost. And if they didn't have a real mother that taught them anything, then you can't pass down nothing. If you don't have wisdom and you don't have knowledge, how can you pass that down to your daughters if you don't have it? If you didn't have a real mother, nobody put anything into you. So how are you going to be able to put it into your daughter? And it's all a cycle. It's a generational curse. If your grandmother wasn't a real mother and your mother wasn't a real mother, you're not going to be a real mother. And when your child becomes a mother, she's not going to be a good mother. It's going to become a generational curse. Um, Appreciate you, Sassy Diva. Thank you very much. Happy Mother's Day to you too. Matter of fact, happy Mother's Day to all the single fathers out there who have to wear the hats of being a mother and a father, and also happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there as well. The reason why a lot of black women are lost in the sauce, because a lot of black women have not had real mothers. That's what's hurting a lot of us, believe it or not. As black men, if you see these black women walking around here, with all their assets hanging out, you see them in the club, twerking and doing all kind of ratchet things to gain attention. 9 times out of 10, she don't have no mother. She don't have a mama. And if she have a mama, that does not mean her mama is a real mother. Because a lot of these women that have given birth, just because you have given birth, that does not make you a mom. It don't matter if you got 5, 6, 7 children. You're a breeder, not a mother. And the problem with the black community, we have a lot of breeders. We don't have a lot of mothers, though. There's a difference between the two. What's up, Abina? I was fortunate to have a mom. My mom wasn't still trying to be young. My mom, she accepted that she was a mother. She dressed like a mother, she act like a mother, she talked like a mother. She was a mother. What happens in the black community, this is the reason why we having so many problems that we have. For one, a lot of us as black women, a lot of us start becoming mothers at an early age. And the problem with that is when you start having producing children at the age of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, even 18, although you legal, you're still young, meaning that you are emotionally underdeveloped, meaning you don't have all of your womanly qualities in alignment. And here it is, now you're about to be a mother. So how can you mother someone when you are still emotionally underdeveloped? And that's the problem with a lot of us as black women in the black community. We're having mothers as little girls. We're not becoming mothers as women. So when you have these 13, 14, 15, 16-year olds who become mothers at this age, um, if she's 15, if she's 14 and she becomes a mom, by the time her child is what 3 years old, she's 16, which means she still is not mature, which means here it is, there's another child that's been produced, that's being raised by another young woman who has nothing to offer her, spiritually, intellectually. What can a 15, 16-year-old offer a child besides milk formula and diapers? She has nothing. There's nothing she can possibly teach her. And that's the problem with a lot of black women in the black community is, so it's a lot of babies raising babies. We got a lot of that's what's hurting a lot of black women in the community. We have a lot of babies that are raising babies. That's a lot of young girls that are producing children, and they're nowhere on that maturity level. And what happens is, if they don't learn from that first pregnancy, which the majority of them don't, they'll get pregnant the second round, the third round, the fourth round, the fifth round. And next thing you notice, she ain't even 18 years old, and now she already has 4 children. Not only that, all of the dudes that she's letting get her knocked up are the Pookies and the Ray Rays. Because basically, when you are a young black woman and you have put a lot of baggage in your life, you're not even 18 years old, and you already have a lot of baggage in your life, the chances of you meeting a man that's going to be of good substance is going to be slim to none. Because when you put yourself in that position, you automatically become a candidate for the Pookie and Ray Ray. It's not the guys that are well off that are going to try to talk to you, deal with you. It's not the men who have themselves together. It's not the guys who got morals and values. For one, they're not even going to deal with a female like you because they have been taught, um based on their upbringing, that you don't deal with the female that's been out there in the streets like that, that's been had by that many men like that. So those men of substance and of quality, they're not going to be checking for you as a young woman once you put yourself in a position and you got all that baggage in your life. Only thing you're going to track is the Pookies and the Ray Rays, because they're the ones, they have nothing going for them. So it's easy. What I notice is whenever there's a man that has nothing going for himself and a woman that has nothing going for herself, 9 times out of 10, these two, they're going to meet each other sooner or later because they're on the same level. It's hard for a Pookie and a Ray Ray to get a woman that's successful because she's on her grind. She's making boss moves. She's not even going to be in the company of a Pookie and Ray Ray. She's going to be at executive meetings around men who make good money just like she does, who has that same social status just like she was. So a Pookie and a Ray Ray is rarely going to is rarely going to be able to get the attention of a black woman who has her business in alignment. But he will get the attention of a ratchet sister or a low common denominator sister because she has nothing going for herself. And what happens in a lot of these cases, these ratchet females will end up producing and breeding with these better males and produce some more Pookies and more Ray Rays. And this is where the overpopulation of um the single mother population um begins to constantly keep increasing, because it's always the women who are down on their luck who will go pick up other men who are down on their luck as well, because you cannot get something that you're not. That's like being raised in the projects. You live in the projects and you're hoping to get the attention of an NBA player. That's not going to happen. Or you dude that's you a drug boy, you on the corner slinging rocks, and you think you're going to get attention of a woman that's an attorney, a lawyer, or she has one of them high executive positions. It's not going to happen. People go to the level they're on. So what tends to happen is a brother that is down on his luck, he's going to link up with a sister that's down on her luck, and vice versa. And what happens is you have a lost man, a lost woman who produces lost children. And here we go. Now we got a whole new generation of Pookies and Ray Rays because it's too many people that are broken, that are linking up with other broken people. And what tends to happen is when you have a broken man and a broken woman and they come together and neither one of them have nothing going for themselves, you would think that they would be wise and try to build something and have something together. But what happens is his mentality is just as low as hers and vice versa. So neither one can encourage the other to want more. And I've seen that happen in a lot of black communities. It's a lot of Pookies and Ray Rays that are hooking up with these Kikis. That's happening. That's starting to happen a lot, and we wonder why we have so many single parent households in the black community. Is because these Pookie and Ray Rays, they don't want to stick around once they knock these chicks up. They don't want to stick around. They're not going to marry them. They're not going to build anything. Pookie and Ray Ray, they're going to go to another Kiki, and the cycle's going to keep going. And it becomes a generational curse. It transcends from one generation to the next generation, and never going to end. Pookie and Ray Ray is not trying to be anybody's husbands. They're not trying to build anything. They're not even trying to work. It's this better male syndrome of not wanting anything and being content with not wanting anything, just going around here making dick deposits, just breaking off all type of random chicks left and right. And what they're not understanding is not only are black women being damaged by going around producing all of these children out of wedlock and all of these random Pookies and Ray Rays, but what these Pookie and Ray Rays have to be careful is when they go around here impregnating all of these different females, and you're a young man, you're a young Pookie, you're a young Ray Ray, you're not even in your 20s, and you got 7 to 8 kids from 7 to 8 different baby mamas, that child support is going to be ridiculous. Do you realize how much every time you breed a different seed in one of these females, do you not realize that is another bill that you added on to your life? What's up, Curtis? CNA and Weed Man is a popular power couple combo. Yes. You are not lying, freelance. You're not lying. Absolutely. What's up, Curtis? Thank you for coming in. What happens is with these Pookie, these Pookie and Ray Rays. What they're not understanding is just the black women that are being affected by this. When you go out here and you decide to have all of these children randomly, and you don't care who you lay down with, and you're more worried about quantity versus quality, you're going to be a 20-year-old black male, and you're going to be owing hundreds and thousands of child support before you even hit your 30s. What's up, JB? What's up, TR808? Happy Mother's Day to all of my single dads who have to be moms and dads. And happy Mother's Day to all of your moms out there. Even if you're not a mama, if you've been keeping your sister bad behind kids, guess what? You a mama. If you've been keeping other people's children, you've been keeping everybody niece and nephew, guess what? You a mother. And JB, I don't blame you. That's the safest way to be. What's up, Poetic? So good to see you. Appreciate your presence. That's one of my ladies from the non-ratchet movement. Yeah, see, all the time in these YouTube streets, we always talk about how these raggedy Anns that are going around having all of these random encounters with all type of random men. Now they don't have all these baby daddies. They got to deal with the burdens of being a single mom because, again, when you put yourself in that position, um, you basically become rejected by society. Brothers are not going to be checking for you as a black woman as much if you put yourself in a position of where you got a lot of baggage and you got a lot of responsibility. They're going to leave you on the clearance rack. And the only brothers you will attract is those who just really, really can't get no one else. Usually when you put yourself in that type of position as a black woman, a black female, and you have all of these kids and all these baby daddies, you become a clearance rack item. Basically, dudes only going to be checking for you when they really don't have nothing else to get. But the thing about it is they're not going to stay with you though. They will mess with you, but they're not going to stay with you. They're not going to try to build anything with you. What's up, Dion? Appreciate you for coming in. That's what happens. Now, this is what I'm noticing in the YouTube streets. We constantly want to talk about how black women are discardable once they become a single parent and they have 4 or 5 baby daddies. Because at that point, what the YouTube streets are saying is that once you put yourself in that position, you don't need a cleanup man. You don't need a janitor. You don't need another man to come into your life to help you take care of all these 4 and 5 children you done produce from other guys. I get it. And then I agree. I agree. I totally agree with that. However, no matter how much I agree with it, it's gonna always be a brother out there because I know some personally who would take another woman on knowing she got all these other children from other relationships. I've seen some guys who have done it. These same ones who love to go in the chat room and praise all of these brothers that are anti-black women. They be the main ones that got baby mamas, or they living in these females Section 8 housing, who they so quick to want to talk about or bash, but they the main ones that's living off of some of these women. It happens all of the time. These same guys that gonna support these black men who have these anti-black women channels, they will still mess with these kind of chicks. They will still get these chicks pregnant. They will still, have sex with these women, knowing they're supposed to be against the black woman uckery, but they will still mess with these type of females. I see it all the time. It's a lot of contradiction in the YouTube streets. Everybody is so quick to tell you, don't mess with this type of black man and don't mess with this type of black woman. But as soon as you turn your back, you don't even know they are the main ones that are messing with these type of chicks and messing with these type of dudes that they're preaching you to stay away from. And you're the one that's supporting their movement. You're the one that's moderators. You're the one that's donating. You're doing all of these wonderful things to support their brand. And they're not even living up to the brand that they want you to believe in. It's a lot of that going on in YouTube streets. I'm telling you, everybody is not who they say they are. Okay, it's nothing. YouTube is just another hustle. It's all about saying what people want to hear, so they'll buy into your brand and they'll donate to you, they'll subscribe to you. To me, YouTube has become nothing but a whole sales pitch. YouTube is a salesman pitch. You have to be careful listening to these YouTube content creators because it's all about selling you. They're not trying to give you any real knowledge. They're not trying to give you any real wisdom. They're just trying to sell you. As long as they can get you to believe in what they believe in, you're going to donate. You're going to subscribe. You're going to be putting all of your time and energy into a channel that's really just selling you and they profiting off of you. We have a lot of YouTube pimps and pimpettes because you got some black women that are doing it, that are profiting off of giving content or giving material that they feel other people want to hear. Yes, and that's what it's called, freelance. Exactly. It's called a great super chat hustle. It's a lot of that going on in the YouTube streets. It's a lot of that. And if you don't have your own mind, if you don't have your own mind, you don't have your own wisdom, and you don't have your own knowledge, you will buy into any and everything these YouTube content creators have to say. Because at the end of the day, all of us have problems, even myself. All of us have problems. All right. Regardless of how many of us you see on these platforms, behind closed doors, we all got issues. So while we want to sit here and address everybody else's issues, behind closed doors, we all have our own demons that we are battling with. Hell, I got my own demons that I'm battling with. But I just try to make sure that whatever personal battles I have, that I don't use it on my platform to try to manipulate people or use it just to gain donations and subscribers. But I get it. It's a hustle. I can't knock the hustle. I mean, some people are great at what they do, and if you can get people that's gullible enough to buy into your brand, then I mean that's good hustling skills. I mean, you're a good salesman, and you have to realize we have a lot of good salesmen in these YouTube streets. They know how to profit off of people's pain. They know that all I have to do is do content about a certain group of people. I'm going to get a lot of followers. Thank you, Keenan, for the $5 donation. I appreciate you. Yes, I've been working very hard with this Mother Day thing. Appreciate the $5 donation, Keenan. Um, it's been stressful. My daughter just had her prom last night. I'm so glad that is over with. It was like dealing with a damn promzilla, but we got through it successfully. Um, I'm glad. I don't regret being a mom, but I tell you one thing, I'm glad I only had one. I can't do this 2, 3, 4 more times. I'm not knocking nobody else out there, but good grief, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, being a mother, especially when you're raising a young black daughter, because you have to teach her to be so different, from what these other from her basically, not falling into the entrapment of being another statistic. What's up, Jermaine? Long time no see. Good to see you. Oh, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you. Um, yeah, as I was stating, this is because I know I'm off a track, I'm off a topic, but I noticed in the YouTube streets, this was the point I want to make. They're not really, it's as much as people love to address black women, and I do feel like black women do need to be addressed. We do need to be addressed because a lot of us are lost in the sauce. We're not where we need to be in life. So I'm glad that there is content out there for black women, that because some of us do need to be read. However, my concern is there's not enough Pookies and Ray Rays that are being read in the black community. Now, as much as I go to some of these channels and I hear some of these guys going in on black women, and I hear these black women going in on black men, it would, I really feel that, these Pookies and Ray Rays need to be addressed, because what a lot of these Pookies and Ray Rays are not understanding is that if they're going around here having all type of random sex with all type of females, they're not using no protection, especially if he's not even 30 years old. And the fact that there's too many black male commentators that are telling black women they need to take accountability. We also need to stress the fact that these Pookie and Ray Rays need to also take accountability, because the The worst part for them is that that's why some of these black men, not all black men, if it doesn't apply, you don't have to reply. Some of these black men are going to suffer because they have too many children they have to feed. A lot of them cannot make a decent paycheck. And by the time they get their check and all the 4 and 5 kids that they have to pay for through child support, they're barely going home with $200 on their check. And again, this comes from the fact that there's not enough of brothers that are being educated on how they too need to not fall into that Pookie and Ray Ray entrapment. Because there's plenty of content all day. It's several channels that I can name that talks about black woman uckery all day, and that's cool, and I don't knock it. But at the same token, these young black men need to be educated that they do not want to fall into the Pookie and Ray Ray syndrome, to where you're going around here, you knocking up all of these different females, because the problem is, even though she's going to feel the burden being a single mother, and we know that's what's going on with black women in the black community. It's a lot of black women that have fallen to that entrapment of having to become single black mothers because they were not in a relationship with some of these men. They were not married to these men who they decided to conceive children with. There was not a relationship, or they either knew the man was married or the man already belonged to somebody. There's some trifling sisters out here who already know what they are getting themselves into, but they still would not take the proper precautions to protect themselves as women so they could avoid even getting in that situation. We hear stories about them all day, but what about these young black men who are not understanding that if you're not even 20 years old and you're going around here raw dogging everybody, you banging out all of these young females, and you're not understanding, young man, before you 20 years old, before you even 25 years old, you got more children on your finger than you could count. You got to pay all this excessive amount of child support. Where is the life in you being able to have something for yourself? Because you got to take care of all these freaking children. We're not preparing these young men out here and making them understand that, yes, black women do need to hold themselves accountable, but that don't mean y'all need to make yourselves less accountable, because guess what? This is the way it works when it comes to having children. A lot of people don't think this way. For instance, I'm gonna tell you why black men, y'all have to be more careful than black women to a certain degree when it comes to breeding all of these children. And this is not to make black women sound righteous. It's not to make black women sound better or we have more an advantage. But I want you as black men to understand what you are really getting yourselves into when you put yourself in the position of being a Pookie and Ray Ray. Starting with this. First of all, these single mothers that people constantly bashing, constantly criticizing, talking so bad about. The thing is, these females have the privilege of still getting some type of assistance. Even though she's a whore, even though she's a hood rat, a thought. The thing about it is, no matter how much this chick gets knocked up, she's going to continue to keep getting help. Do I agree? No. Do I like it? No. Matter of fact, I hate it. I hate that they make it so easy for females who carry themselves in this manner to still have the privilege of still being able to get government assistance. But guess what? I am not a law maker, so I don't get to decide how the laws are instructed with child support and governmental assistance. So the thing is, no matter how much these women get knocked up, they're going to always get help. Somebody's going to give them housing. Somebody's going to give them food stamps. Somebody's going to give them Section A. They're going to get something, okay? We know we don't like it. I don't like it either. But guess what? Ain't a damn thing y'all or none else could do about it. We could talk about no good hoes all day who get food stamps. Guess what? They still gonna get their food stamps on their card next month. Okay. Now, you as a black man, what are you getting out of knocking all of these chicks up? Are you getting food stamps? Are you getting Section A? Are you getting housing? You're not getting rewarded. You being penalized. See, when these females go out here and partake in promiscuous behavior, they don't get penalized, they get awarded. You as black men, y'all got to be 20 times more careful and 20 times more smarter, because y'all are the ones that's getting messed up behind it. Because the system is going to make y'all do your part, whether if y'all want to or not. If this chick puts you on child support, you got to do your part. meaning that if you don't do your part, and that has been court ordered. Now it's not, it's different if you and her made a mutual agreement, but if it's been court ordered and you don't pay that child support becomes like your dictator. Child support is the main dictator for black men, because what happens is they control your life. Once these sisters put you on the system and you don't pay it, and you like all macho, or I'm not paying nothing, I'm not paying that, you ain't got to pay it. But what happens is they suspend your license. So how you going to go to work? They take your tag. So how you going to drive your car to work? So it's a lot that happens to you as black men when y'all are not responsible, because these black women, they're not going to feel the funk like y'all feel it's just not, because they're going to always get help, they're going to always get assistance. All they got to do is go down there to the welfare line and say, oh, I'm pregnant again, refill out paperwork. They're going to get more stamps increased and added to their stamps. I think some states are tightening down on that, though. A lot of states, they're not increasing stamps like they used to. She's going to get some kind of help. What kind of help are you going to get, though? And I'm not saying this to throw shade. I ain't trying to be funny. I just want black men to understand, as much on these YouTube streets, everybody wants to have this anti-black woman uckery, but at the same time, these same black women y'all bash about, y'all complain about, they're not feeling the funk like these black men who are impregnating them. That's the part I want y'all to understand. Now, Bina says so true. My cousin has 7 kids by 5 different women. Lord Abina, and there's so many young black men that are doing that crap. Girl, I know you ain't lying. He's 60 years old and still paying child support and has no money for retirement. He's been working 2 to 3 jobs all his adult life. Girl, I'm telling you. Thank you for sharing that, because that's the point I'm trying to prove. Why all of the why black men have all the time in the world to sit up here and listen to all these YouTube content creators talk bad about black women. Let me tell you something. They could talk bad about black women all day, but if you as a black man, you're not protecting yourself from these type of black women, and you're going around, you're knocking them up, you're having all kind of random raw sex with all of these chicks, do you realize that you would not have nothing by the time child support gets done with you? By the time you'll never get done paying 6 and 7 kids off, especially when they are from different women. You would never have nothing for yourself. And I know you're absolutely right, Abina, because I've seen this happen to too many young to a lot of black men. Like I said, black women are going to always get some type of assistance. I don't like that it's set up that way. I feel, in my opinion, that some of these black women, I feel like if they're going out here and negligently, spitefully having all these kids on purpose, knowing they don't have a job, I really don't think the government needs to reward them. But guess what? Mocha does not get to change the law. So as much as I don't like it, just like some of y'all don't like it, guess what? There's nothing we can't do about it. Every time we think that they're going to shut these stamps down, they're going to shut these programs down, they'll say they're going to shut them down, but next thing you notice, these females still getting stamps, they're still getting assistance. So I really don't think child support, and I don't think food stamps and housing, I don't think they're ever going to do away with it. I just think they're going to get more stricter. They're going to keep changing the rules, but they're not getting rid of stamps. They're not getting rid of housing, because the truth of the matter is, too, there are other races that are getting these benefits as well. So that's another reason why I don't think stamps and housing will ever really be abolished, because there are just as many whites that are needing it and depending on it as we are. Let me see. Keenan says they take your license and lock you up if you can't pay child support. How's a man supposed to make it out there here? You become a slave to the child support machine. Exactly. So see, all y'all in my chat room, y'all are on the same page. Why are black men not discussing this in the YouTube streets? Why do we have all day to talk about black woman uckery? Why are we not protecting these young black men from falling into that trap to where they become a freaking child support machine? Because regardless, even though we want black women to be held accountable, and I want them to be held accountable for their actions, but guess what? People are not going to stop having sex. Y'all is wasting y'all time preaching about black woman uckery because these chicks are not going to stop having babies. They're not going to stop getting their welfare. They're not going to stop getting their food stamps. Y'all can preach all day about these black females, but y'all are not going to change their mindset. They're going to continue to keep doing just what they're doing. Happy Mother's Day, Mama Son. Here's my child support check. I got to run. Well, thank you, Freelance, for the $5 support donation. Appreciate you. Now you done caught up on your arrearage. So I'm going to let child support know you can get your license reinstated. So now you good to go. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Freelance. Thank you. That exactly. We don't want to talk about this. I fear for black men like I fear for black women because if you are young and let's face it, when you're a young black man, you're not thinking about stuff like that. You're too busy trying to get as much as you can get, because again, you're young and dumb, you're full of cum. It's all about, just doing you. But these young black men, they got to be careful now because the problem is back in my day, you used to kind of could just kind of, you know, people had sex back then and things happened, but it wasn't like it is now. Now what's killing a lot of black what's killing black women is the lack of support, and what's killing black men is the excessive amount of child support. Um that's killing a lot of black men in the black community. It's so many black men that have to work 2, 3 jobs because they have so many kids they have to feed. You're not even 20 years old and you're going around here raw dogging everybody, and these young men are not understanding that all of these chicks you are knocking up, they're going to be in your life forever. And my thing is, when you have these 5, 6 kids, um and you have all this money taken out your check, what woman is going to want to deal with you knowing you're not going to be able to provide or contribute because you have too many responsibilities? What woman is going to want to deal with that? By the time you get your check stubs, you done got 5, 6 fees taken out for child support, plus taxes. Taxes take out a lot of money. By the time you go home with your check, you may be going home with $300 or $400. That's no money. The black community needs to be educated that when you have all of these children out of wedlock and there's no marriage, there's no relationship, you're just going around and having being promiscuous and partaking in all type of sexual encounters, and you don't care who you're doing it with, and you're not using any protection, you're not using any method of birth control. Do you not realize that every child you create becomes a bill? That's another bill. What's up, cool gent? Appreciate your patience. I mean, your presence. I'm saying patience. I appreciate your presence for being in here. Yeah, we're talking about black mothers and daughters in this Pookie Ray Ray saga because I'm starting to notice in the YouTube streets. I'm hearing all this talk about about you know so many people having so much to say about black women not being accountable and not being responsible and being negligent. But my thing is, if they're being negligent, do y'all not realize they ain't being negligent by themselves? If a black woman pops up pregnant, does that not mean that the dude who impregnated her, he didn't use anything either? Does that not say that? If she's a single mother, who made her a single mom? How'd she get that way? Somebody put that baby in that belly. So he ain't no better than her. Why he ain't use no condom? Why? Yeah, it's her job to protect herself. Yeah, she's supposed to. But that's the problem with black men and black women. We want to blame each other when the bottom line is everybody is responsible for their own actions. If a chick comes up pregnant, y'all want to be so quick to say, well, she has a black woman, she should have known better than not let no Pookie and Ray Ray knock her up. But guess what? What about Pookie and Ray Ray? He know he don't like to work. He know he don't never keep a job. He know he don't take care of the 3, 4 kids he got. I'm so sick and tired of everybody in these YouTube streets wanting to point fingers. Both are irresponsible. Both of them are. Why do we want to keep pointing fingers. Why we want to make somebody more at fault when it's really both. Now, let me tell you why you men have to be careful. Let me see what Abina says. That's why my cousin works 2, 3 jobs because his main job, they take almost his whole check. So he has to work an extra job or two, just to live. And you are absolutely right. And this is why I'm talking about this, because we're not educating. We got a lot of channels that talk about black woman fuckery. There's a lot of channels you can go to. But why is no one educating these young black men about of how to avoid getting themselves in situations where they knock up these type of chicks? They are not getting pregnant by themselves. Why do we keep overlooking that? And you're right, because what happens is, especially when a man has like 5, 6 kids or 3, 4, 5 kids or whatever, he has to get a different job, because what happens is when he has to pay child support is going to automatically take a substantial amount of money out of his check before he even sees it, which means he has no control over it. The government is going to take out their portion right away. So what happens in many cases, and I know a guy who just went through that, and he just got off of child support, so he's free now. He's no longer imprisoned with child support payments. He actually he that's what he did. He had his main job where the child support took out from that, and then he worked another job, and he didn't even report that one because he knew how he reported his second job that child support would have been garnishing his wages out of there. So what he did was he got smart, because the way child support works, as long as they can get it from one job, they're rarely not going to bother you. The problem is if you're not paying no child support and then you're working 2, 3 jobs and they find out you work 2, 3 jobs, then they may try to hit up every check that you get. But where he got smart was he only let child support know about that job. So that went towards child support, and the other he was able to put in his own pocket. But my thing is, who wants to go through that? Who wants to work 2, 3, 4 jobs to pay child support? I can understand if you're working 2, 3 jobs because you're trying to buy you a home, you're trying to save up to get you a car. Who wants to keep paying for kids? That's a lot of money. And this is what, and this is another thing. This is the other point I want to make. This is why men have to be careful. I'm gonna let y'all know this is the reason why y'all stand more to lose than women who have children. Like I mentioned earlier, these females could always get some type of governmental assistance. As a man, you can't get government assistance. I'm sorry, guys. There's no Section 8, there's no food stamps, there's no housing. They're not going to cater to men, and I don't think that's fair. I think that a man should be able to get the same privileges, especially if he's a single father. What's up, Lord Drag One? Who's in the building? What's good? Talk about these Pookie and Ray Rays today. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying, Coogent. That's what it is. It's slavery. Now check this out, y'all. Check this out. Because none of these other YouTube content creators, they're not going to give you this information I'm giving you. Let me tell you why, black men. Let me tell y'all why y'all got to be careful. If a woman gets pregnant, right? It takes a woman 9 months to get pregnant. Okay? Meaning that she cannot get no more pregnant within that 9 month frame. She can't get pregnant again till after she has had that child. Then she can get pregnant again, and it's going to be a whole another 9 months before she get pregnant again. Now, when it comes to being a man, this is where y'all have to be careful. Y'all have more than the same amount of time it takes her to get pregnant within 9 months. You can be screwing 9 chicks because you're not the one carrying a baby. You're not carrying a child. You can knock up 9 chicks at the same time within a year. Let's say if you didn't use protection within 1 month and you screwed all 9 females raw with no protection in 1 month. Do you not realize that's 1 year you've already created 9 babies? Do you not think about that? Think about it. A man can get way more children than a woman. How many of y'all in here believe that? Am I talking to myself? Because I want to make sure y'all understand where I'm coming from. Do y'all not realize that men can have more children than women? A woman can only get pregnant every 9 months. Now, a man, while that woman is pregnant for that 9 months, he could screw another female, get her pregnant for 9 months. He could screw another female, get her pregnant for 9 months. He could screw another female, get her pregnant for 9 months. That's 4 different baby mamas in 1 year. Are y'all marinating what I am saying? Are y'all feeling me? Are y'all feeling me? While we want to talk all day about these ratchet women, let's talk about some of these things these dudes are doing. Do you not realize as a man you could produce more children than a woman? If I get pregnant for 9 months, that's it. I can't get no more pregnant than that. Ain't no more babies coming until after I have that child. Now, while I'm pregnant with your babe, with your child, you can screw 15, 16, 17 other women and get 17 babies here within 1 year. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Y'all ain't thought about it like that, did you? Yeah. That's what you got your diva knowledge for. I'm going to open your brain pores. See, you're not going to get this type of knowledge nowhere else. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Is there anybody who would like to elaborate on that? Is more men, y'all can have more children than women. Yes, you can. If you don't use no protection with none of the women you with, you will have more kids than Kiki in the projects. Think about it. You ain't using no protection with none of the women you with, and you banging 10 women, that's 10 kids, bruh. And I ain't trying to be funny. I know some guys who got way more kids than women got kids. We don't want to talk about them. Yes, I think I'm gonna have to get poetic and cool gent on this one. We don't want to talk about that. No, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about it. You men got to be 20 times more careful because you can get way more kids than a woman could get kids. You can knock up 20 times more women in a year than a female could have a child in 1 year. That's a fact. So my thing is, this is why, and I'm not saying this to be funny. I do not want to see any of these men out here, half of their check going towards child support. That sucks. Don't you want to buy a home one day? Don't you want to buy some land someday? Don't you want to invest in some properties? Who want to keep investing in babies? I'm saying, who want to keep investing in babies? Who want to keep doing that? And my thing is, when if you decide to get married? When if you want to have a family with a woman who's really worth having something? And what you gonna do? You wanna go into another woman's life with 9 of your kids? That's not fair to the next woman. What woman should have to deal with that? I wouldn't want to deal with it. I don't care how fine or how handsome you are. You got 9 or 10 kids. I don't want no parts of you, bro. I don't want you nowhere near me. I won't even let you smell it. I'll be afraid you'll get me fertile just by smelling it. Ah, I know I'm being messy, but I'm just telling the truth. We don't talk about stuff like this. Why are we not talking about this? We want to talk about everybody else. Why are we not schooling other black men how to get out of the situation? Because we know some of these chicks are going to be trifling. They're not going to protect themselves. We already know that. They're not going to protect themselves from y'all. My thing is, why are men constantly preaching what women need to do with their bodies? Y'all know these females are not going to get on no freaking birth control. Y'all already know that. Y'all been screaming that same line. I'm so tired of these men on YouTube screaming that same line. Women, y'all need to use protection. Y'all need to stop getting. They know that already. They don't want to. They need a child support check. Exactly, Broadway. Even more reason why I'm selective with who. And I don't blame you. That's called having discretion. That's called having wisdom, Broadway. I don't blame you. If I had a son, I would be telling him the same thing. Who want to go through that? You want to keep knocking, you want to keep give these women all your money? Soon as you get your check because you got all these kids, you can't enjoy nothing for yourself. And if you in a relationship or you married, that's not fair to your wife. You can't even take out the Red Lobster to get her a cheddar biscuit because you got all this child support. I'm just saying, bro. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I do not understand for the life of me why we got so many men around here knocking up all these chicks. It is her responsibility to protect her body. But guess what? If she wants child support, she's not going to protect her body. Why would she? Some women get pregnant on purpose because they need money. They know children are their ticket meal. They know to get protection, but they're not going to do that because that's how they benefit. Yeah, exactly, cool gent. They embrace suffering. I don't blame you, Abina. They don't get tired of it, but then they the main ones who want to go on these content screaming about all black women ain't this, ain't that. Stop sleeping with them then. Stop giving them wood. You won't have to worry about that. Stop laying with them. Stop messing with them. You already see she got a track record. She already got 5, 6 kids, and she ain't with none of the daddies. That already tell you right there. So why is you wasting? So why are you putting yourself in that position? It is their meal ticket. They're not going to use protection. Let me tell you something. When if a woman wants to protect herself, she's going to protect herself. You don't have to do panels telling black women how to use birth control, how to use condoms. Let me tell you something. All of us, we know how to protect ourselves. Okay. So if a woman is getting pregnant, it's because she wants to. All of y'all are wasting y'all time saying, well, it's her fault. She wanted it to be her fault. She wanted children because if she didn't, she knew she could have went to the clinic and got birth control. She could have used condoms. Women, we know how to protect ourselves. So if we're not protecting ourselves, it's because we don't want to. That's what it boils down to. But my thing is, as a man, you already know you getting ready to go lay down with a woman, and you don't put nothing on yourself. You already know what's coming. You don't need to be surprised when you check the mailbox and you see child support papers in the mailbox. You already know what's coming. But you want to sit up here and scream how all black women are gold diggers and no good. Stop making yourself become a candidate to these type of women. Stop laying up with them. Stop sneaking and creeping with them. Stop playing with them. Stop going to bed with them and not using no protection. Because you're going to end up caught up. You're going to become the child support machine. The majority of your check you get is going to go towards her. And the thing about it is, child support don't always go towards the child. When they get that money, they do everything else with it. So you're gonna have to deal with the fact that even when you give her money, she has control over where she put the money. She has control over what she wants to do with the money. So don't think because you're paying child support, your child is going to benefit because that's not always the case. What's up, Kels? I know this is a random panel because usually I send y'all emails because I wasn't sure if I was going to come in today. But how's it going? I know you've been listening. So what is your opinion on this mess that's going on with the Pookies and Ray Rays that are making themselves become Pookie and Ray Rays?
Yes, because a lot of the Ray Rays do have more babies than the women.
I
You
don't hear
know,
your sounds.
huh?
Does anybody hear Poetic?
Oh,
If
can
y'all
you hear
hear
me?
her, let me know because I don't hear her on my end.
Oh, snaps! You want me to hang up and come back in? Let me type in the chat. Let me type in the
I'm
chat.
typing now. I can't hear you. Yeah, and I don't blame you of being a it's a lot of frustration that comes along with dealing with somebody that has children. It really is. You have to you have to be a very strong-minded person, but it's not always that either. It kind of depends on how they're handling it. um if they were married to that person, or and the marriage didn't work out, that's different, because at least they was married. Let's say if the parent one of the parents died, and now that person is a single parent, so there's different dynamics. As long as if the children are well behaved, and there's no baby mama drama, baby daddy drama, it doesn't have to be really bad. So it's different dynamics, because some people single parents not because they want to be single parents. What's up, Azula? Some people single parents not because they want to be single parents. Something happened. The father died, the mother died. The father got incarcerated, and they didn't know the father was out there doing stuff to get incarcerated. It's things that happen. Now, it's one thing to become a single parent, and it's another thing when you intentionally put yourself in a position to become a single parent. You get knocked up every year from a different dude, and you've never been married and never been with none of them, then that's a whole other story. You're just straight irresponsible. Go ahead, Kels, let me hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Do y'all hear Kels? Because I still don't hear her.
Oh, I don't know what's
I'm gonna
going
see if
on.
I can send her. I'm gonna send you the link through the web. I mean, through your email,
Okay.
because that's probably it may not work through there. Let me see. Try link from your email.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can't
Share.
hear me, but everybody else can hear me.
Appreciate it, Azulu. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, this is the thing. Like I said, I'm just noticing all these YouTube content creators. We got all day to be anti-black woman, but we're not talking about how to how having all these children not only affects black women as single mothers, but it also affects these black men who are excessively having to make all these excessive child support payments for all of these women from that they've been just, you know, banging in the wall. Phoenix says, "Ain't the man supposed to do the empire with the woman?" Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, Meaning Phoenix, or meaning because I want to make sure I understand what you mean. Meaning, like, is he the one that's supposed to build like the foundation? Like, he the one that's supposed to be choosing who he wants to build a family with? Is that what you're saying? I want to make sure I'm not misinterpreting you. But it's just I just hate to see that any man is around here paying all of this child support because they got so many children from so many random women. And I know a young man that's, I think he's not even 30, I think he's 24, 25. He had a child with somebody in my family. That was his first child. And as soon as him and my cousin, broke up, he got with a whole nother female and had a child from her. Okay. That didn't work out. So he turned around and got with another female and had twins from her. Okay. So at this point, he has four children. Then he turned around and had a little girl. So now he has like five kids, and he's not even 25 yet. And he has five children, and he has to keep working jobs, and as soon as he worked jobs he quit them, because what happens is he's behind on child support right now. So he has an arrearage that he has to pay, and believe it or not, arrearage is separate from child support. Everybody, child support and child support arrearage is not the same thing. Just thought I'd let you know that. So he has to pay two separate things, and what happens is every time he gets a check and he sees how much is taken out from the back pay and the child support, what's he been doing is he quits a job, and he'll go work somewhere else. And every time he sees they're taking something out, he'll quit. So now I think he's like working something underneath the table, so he don't have to worry about his taxes being taken out. Okay, Phoenix, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it should be that way. I think I've always felt like the man should be have had the authority of being able to choose who he wants to build a family with. That's how it was back in the day. The man, he was the one who decided who he wanted to build a family with. And what's starting happening is, what I'm noticing, Phoenix, is nobody is building families anymore. People are just having children. There's no more families. The black community is not trying to build a foundation of a family. People is just the black people in the black community, they're just having kids. That's all it is. No one's not building a family. Nobody's trying to get married. Nobody's trying to build a real family foundation. So all of their children could be raised under the same roof, could be raised under the same house. That I really feel like so many of our black children are being deprived from that. Our black children deserve to have a mother and a father under the same roof, teaching them as a family, versus all these single parent households and versus these single dads and single moms. These children deserve to be raised by both parents under the same roof. That's my opinion. Now, Bina says, someone asked me if they have grown children, would I still give them a chance? I said no, because yeah, she said, because I have to deal with grandchildren. You are absolutely right. You are right. You're right. That comes with the territory too. And believe it or not, this is why, as black men and black women, you have to be careful with what kind of seeds you plant in a black family tree. You have to be careful with the seeds that you produce. The reason I say that is because if you started off having children at a young age, if you were like 20, 23, 24, whatever, 18, 17, and you started having children, well, I'll say, put it this way, you over 20, might be okay, but under 20, and you're having children young, do you not realize that the children you are having, they're going to also have children young? So you're right, Abina, when you stated that if you date somebody older, even if they have older children, it's still the grandchildren. It's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. And some of them, they don't learn. They do exactly what the parents have done. If Papa was a Rolling Stone, Junior gonna be a Rolling Stone. If Mama has 6, 7, 8, 9 kids, out of those 6, 7, 8, 9 kids she have, the majority of them are gonna do the same thing, because you repeat the curse that has been planted into your family tree. And that goes on a lot within the black community, but many don't want to talk about that. Um, Broadway says, yes, exactly. The man builds, the woman's supposed to assist. The world is so out of order. And it really, really is. It's been out of order for a long time. Like I stated, I find it very ironic that during slavery, that black men and black women, that even though they did not have any freedom, but there was more dedication and loyalty to the family unit. Even though our ancestors back then was divided and taken away from their families and was taken from one plantation to another, there was a lot of divisions within the black community, but during slavery for blacks, but there was still that bond that wasn't broken. Back then, black slave women and black slave men, even though masters didn't always approve of it, they did get married in many cases, and they did produce their children out of marriage, even though they didn't have the accessories we had today. Of course, there was no registry for David's bridal or nothing like that, but they did have marriage back then. They didn't have the freedom. Well, here it is today. We got all the freedom, but we're not striving for marriage. There's too many black women that are content with just being baby mamas. And it's also some black men, they don't want to be a husband, but they're all right with just having children and being a father. I know a young man here in Savannah, he has several children. Um, I don't even think he's 40 yet, and he has like every bit of 11 or 15 children, and he brags about his kids constantly. You can tell he loves his children. He values his children, but I don't care how much he, brags about his kids, how much he loves them. I'm looking at the fact, you had all of these kids, but you never married none of the mothers of these children. You were not never in a relationship. And I realized, like you have women, you have some females who have children for their own reasons. You have some women who will have children because of course, for child support, or because they feel like their biological clock is ticking. They're getting older, so they want to hurry up and start breeding children or whatever. It's not always for right reasons as to why women would breed children, but at the same time, some men, I don't notice it a lot, but it's not as frequent as it is with black women. But I notice some women, they like to have kids because it's like a property thing for them. They see their children as properties, little pieces of property, something they own. Not meaning that they really have children, because they love being a father. They enjoy being a dad. Some like to have children because they just know that's property. And in some cases, he knows he could also benefit. I knew some men who have gotten married, and because he was in the military, he knew the more kids he had, the more dependence he would get on his check. So when he did get his check, all this time his wife never even knew he was getting a large substantial amount, as a large substantial check from the military. For every year she got pregnant, he was benefiting off those checks, big time. And she wasn't seeing half of that money. He took it and he was doing what he wanted to do with it. That's what it boils down to. Everybody, everybody ain't having children for the right reasons, and this is why we have so much problems in the black community. Black folks are like children who don't want to take responsibility. Exactly. We have a lot of grown black men and grown black women that are still childish themselves, that still don't want to take accountability, who still want to point the fingers and blame everyone else. We got some grown folks that are still very childish. They still look for sympathy, still look for empathy. We have grown folks playing mind games, being manipulative, and all this other stuff. And these are the reason why these children come here in a hot mess. Because a lot of these children that are being born and that are being conceived, they're being conceived through lies. They're being conceived through manipulation. They're being conceived through greed. All of these babies are not being produced and brought in this world the right way. And we wonder why when these kids come into this world, we have so many problems with them. We have so many issues with them because the majority of them did not get here the right way. They did not come here out of love. Some of these children are being produced out of lust. They're being produced out of a dollar. So I mean, that's the bad part. A lot of people are not having children for the right reasons. Back in the day, having a child, when women had children back in the day, it was pregnancy was an honorable thing. It was honorable to be pregnant from your husband. That's how it was during the 40s and 50s. Women embraced pregnancy and they saw pregnancy as a privilege because basically that meant you are part of the legacy, meaning that you are helping to build that brand with that family. You are helping to build that legacy, meaning that if you are pregnant from your husband, all of the children that you have from your husband will all share your husband's last name. That is how the legacy is started. When all children come from the same bloodline and all have the same last name. That is how you build the legacy. Now, when you're around here, you're a woman and you're going from one man to the next, all your children having different last names. You're not building a legacy. Basically, all you did, you're not building a family. You just had children. That's what you did. There, you didn't build anything. But that's what women strive to be. Women strive to be wives back then. Women today are striving to be baby mamas. So we're dealing with a totally different breed of women in this generation. Um, Again, we're in a new state of an emergency where black men and black women, they don't want to have families, they just want to have children. Like I said, just like you got a lot of single moms around here that's letting all kind of dudes raw dog them and have all kind of kid, letting all kind of dudes impregnate them. You got some dudes that are going around here and they're impregnating everybody. They don't care who they live with. Let me tell you something. Everybody DNA isn't good. Everybody does not have good DNA. You got to be careful who you breed with. Some people got mental illnesses and got dysfunctions within their family tree. So you got to be very careful because your child could very well adopt those same DNA and characteristics. So I've mentioned this as well. You have to be careful with who you produce and who you breed with. Um,
Freelance said, I'm just background while I work, and thousand, 100,000 agree with Abina. Grown broke kids and grandkids will always be buzzing around and bringing drama and being needy. Oh yes, yes, freelance and Abina, y'all on the same page. I mean, it's unfortunate if you go into a black family, and I, I hate to say this, I hate to sound so stereotypical, but freelance, you actually brought up a good point, that I would like to address. It's unfortunate that um some of these black families they don't have nothing. How could I say this appropriately? Some of these black families they don't have nothing solid. It's so, some of these black families are so broken. Um, some of these black families, the majority of the relatives in the family tree all got issues. Nobody's not doing anything really effective and efficient. There are some black families where everybody's broke, nobody hardly has a job, everybody's sorry, granddaddy never worked, therefore his son never worked, um his wife never been about nothing, so therefore his son will go marry a woman that ain't about nothing. It's a lot of tore up black families within the community, where they just not got nothing going for themselves. It's unfortunate that you have some black men from back in the day that was doing so much, so many bad things during their youth. Now that they're grown men, their grandfathers, they have nothing that they could pass down to their grandchildren and children. And the same thing, you got some of these black women from back in the day, they didn't do anything solid with their lives. They didn't start a business, they didn't start a company. All they did was produce children after children after children. And now that they're old, somebody has to scrape up change to put them in a nursing home, um because nobody wants to keep, nobody wants to keep big mama, because big mama ain't left nothing in the family tree for them to have. Nobody owns any property, nobody owns any equity, nobody has nothing they can pass on to the great grand and the grandchildren. It's sad to say, but a lot of black families are, it's too many of us that are struggling. We don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. You know what I mean? Especially if the leader of that family, if the grandfather, great grandfather, he didn't already start a business that can be passed down from generations to come, you're just going to be typical struggling black family. That's what it boils down to. Uh, you said what when you Phoenix, when you said what age do eggs go away? Do you mean when a women most likely not to be able to conceive anymore? Is that the question? I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying. Um, but we have a lot of struggling black families, and like I said, it's a lot of black families where there's nothing to show for but a bunch of children. Everybody just got a bunch of kids. Nobody don't have nothing to show for. Nobody don't own no property. They don't own no company. They don't own a piece of land. They don't own nothing. And meanwhile, the children just keep breeding like roaches, breeding like rats. You know, and I don't blame you when freelance make that statement. Yeah, you go into a family like that, they're gonna always bring drama. Black families that have a lot of poverty, and what I mean by poverty, we have a lot of black families in the black community that are very poverty stricken, meaning they don't own anything. They don't have anything established. They don't have good credit. They don't own property, they don't own anything. You have some black families where they've been paying rent all their lives. They can't pass nothing down to the grandchildren or the great grandchildren because they've been paying rent all their lives. Or you may have had that grandfather who's always in and out of jail and who had a rough lifestyle. He has nothing to pass down to his son. So his when his son has children, he can have his leave something for his grandchildren. There's not enough black men and black women that are building legacies. They're not leaving a legacy. Now I see other races do it all the time. I see these Indians do it. I see these whites do it. They great grandfathers started funeral homes back in 1965, and here it is 2019. The great 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 grandchildren are still running those funeral homes that their grandfathers left them from centuries ago. It's very, it amazes me. uh yeah, that sexual energy, I'm telling you, you can't sleep with everybody. Everybody don't have good DNA. Everybody, some families have bad blood. You don't know, you got to be careful, because hereditarily you don't know who you're conceiving with, and depending on who you conceive with, some of these children come here with all type of issues. In Eastern philosophies, especially Taoism, is taught that men should learn to separate orgasm from ejaculation. Oh, let me see, is that what it called, freelance? Because I'm gonna look into that. That's interesting. um That's interesting. For one, I didn't even know men could separate orgasm from ejaculation. That's crazy. What is it called? It's called Taoism. Is that's what it called, freelance? Because I'm gonna look that up because that's interesting. Can't usually Phoenix, usually they'll tell you by the age of 40, is when a woman she's pretty much high risk. But in actuality, I'm saying actuality, Phoenix, I really think it depends on how the woman takes care of herself. If she's been one of those women, she never smoked, never drank, had a dominantly clean lifestyle, I think she could produce even when she gets 45. Now, what woman would want to wait that late? I don't know, but Janet Jackson did it. She was 50, but Janet Jackson been taking care of herself for years. She been hitting the gym and all of that. So I think it depends on how individually, Phoenix, how that woman took care of herself. Because I know some young women who had babies and miscarried or had stillborns because they didn't eat the right foods. They smoked weed, drank, and lived a rough lifestyle. So you really can't go by age. In my opinion, you go by how a woman takes care of herself or whatever. So that's just my opinion. Because I know some women up in age who have very healthy babies and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up or whatever because I just it just never it amazes me how it's so many black men that are having unprotected sex, but then they're having all of these children, and they got to kick out all of this child support. You only making, let's say your paycheck, you only making 500 a week. 300 of that is taken out for the child support, especially if you got three or four little ones. Then on top of that, taxes are being taken out. Taxes is very high. And then on top of that, you still got bills you got to live. A lot of these dudes out here don't be thinking about far down the line. You too busy out here banging every chick that looks good, but you're not thinking about, um when it comes down to paying for all of these children. You're not going to have a life. You're not going to have nothing for yourself. You're going to be too busy owing any and everybody. You're going to owe everybody, across town, all your hard work and money. You don't want getting up every morning, slaving at these jobs, doing these 12-hour shifts. Who want to go through all of this hard working and hard shifts, and the majority of your money going to somebody else's household? And in some cases, while you're paying child support and the majority of your money is being garnished, the females that you're paying the child support towards, the mothers of the children, they're not always doing the right thing with the child support. You kicking out all this money, and you still, when you go see your child, you still see they don't have no new clothes, don't have no new shoes, don't have nothing decent to wear. So your child support don't mean it's necessarily going to child support. That's the other thing. You paying for these chicks' bad habits and stuff. People in the West are very sexually immature because Western society weaponizes sex to control society. Oh, good point. I'm gonna look that up as soon as I log off of here. I mean, it was a wild edible plants. Wow, that's a curse for not courting, dating, married properly. Absolutely, absolutely. When you do things out of order, and it's just being honest, when you do things out of order, when you have children out of wedlock or you have children out of lust, you bring children into this world the wrong way, and the child was not produced through a marriage, was not produced through a family unit. it's a recipe for disaster. And I'm not saying that a child can't be successful. I'm not saying this is the case with everybody, but the chances are even lower of that child being successful. It's important that these children have both. They need a mother and they need a father. The problem with these single moms that are raising these children is that, especially if they have a son, their son will adopt the majority of their feminine characteristics, meaning that he becomes overly emotional because there was not a male there to help him balance masculinity. If he's only been around his mother and his mother is the only one who has been raising him, and there's been no father in the home, most likely he's going to adopt all of her feminine emotions, all of her feminine attitudes, all of that. Um, Same thing if there's if there's she's raising a daughter and there's not a father. Her daughter may adopt all of her drama, all of her ratchet ways, especially if the mother's ratchet. If there's not a father that's there, um, again, that daughter's going to adopt all of her mother's ways. So it's very important now that when you produce children, it's just better to produce them through a family foundation. They need that balance. This is not to say single moms can't be good moms, single dads can't be good dads. They could still have good parent, even if it's just one of you. But it's even better for the structure of that child, the well-being of that child, to have a mother and a father within our household. But again, we're in a society where people just want to do them. Nobody values marriage anymore. Nobody values the structure, the foundation of family. We've done away with that, unfortunately. Yeah, that's why I've been preaching on alls. It's just too expensive. It's too expensive. Not to mention the emotional tolls it takes on you as a man. I know you got all these kids spread all over across town, and you don't get along with none of the baby mamas. You don't get along with them. You have a bad relationship with all five, six of your baby moms, and I tell you, that's why in some cases, not all men, but some of these men are bitter because they got so much responsibilities and they got the wrong chicks knocked up. Just like some of these black women are bitter because they let the wrong dudes knock them up. So they hate all black men for a poor decision they made. Anthony says, thanks for the $5 donation. I appreciate it, Anthony. Thank you for the support. Your question is, do black mothers pick up the slack by playing the role of dude who the daughter couldn't choose to help her take care of her kids? Make sure I follow your question. Do black mothers pick up the slack by playing dude who choose to help her take care of kids? To understand your question, Anthony, when you say, do black mothers pick up the slack by playing the role of the dude who the daughter couldn't choose to help her take care of her kids? You meaning like these women who basically help their daughters by they help their daughters who get pregnant by dudes that knock them up by kind of playing the role of being a father. Like she's supposed to be the grandmother, but she's kind of playing the role of the father to help the daughter who's not getting help from her child's father. Is that what you mean? I just want to make sure I'm understanding your question. I think that's where you're going, but I just want to be sure. Make sure I understand your question. Yeah, just rechat that question. Just yeah, rechat it for me. I just want to make sure I'm clear on what the question is asking. Yes, I remember the feeling. Oh yeah. Anthony, we have a lot of that going on in the black community. It's a lot of older black women that are filling in the shoes as the father for their young black daughters who are getting knocked up by these no good dudes out here. In some cases this happens for many reasons. For one, some of these grandmothers, they like to also benefit off the governmental privileges their daughters are getting from the no good baby daddy. For instance, if the baby father is not in her daughter's life and she's receiving welfare, food stamps, and housing, the mother, some of these older black women, they love the benefits that their daughters get from the government. So she don't mind stepping in and being a full-time grandmother because she knows that she can go stay with her daughter in her nice Section 8 housing, or she could live with her daughter in the projects. I know some older grown women who are just not responsible. You know, they don't have their own home, they don't have their own apartment, and they will go live off of their daughters through government assistance. They'll go stay in their daughter government housing, they'll go stay in their daughter's Section 8 housing and government assistance, because again, some of these women are just as irresponsible as some of these grown men. They don't like to pay bills. They don't like to be responsible. So yes, I know quite a few. Some of these grandmothers, they love the benefits, so they don't mind filling in and playing as grandmothers, playing as the baby daddy because they get the benefits. Um, the second reason a lot of these grandmothers also do that is because um they have done the same thing their daughters are doing. They had children out of wedlock. They had children from men that were no good either. And the reason she's being a fill-in grandmama and taking on to the role of a grandmother as a second dad is because she remembers the struggle, because she experienced being a single mom. So now that her daughter is in that situation, she don't want her daughter to have to go through what she went through, so she'll kind of fill in as the dad, especially if the biological father isn't there. But my thing is this: if you really went through it, my usual common sense would make you think that you would not want your daughter to go through that. But I don't know what it is. A lot of some of these black women, they will allow their black daughters to fall into the same trap. They don't even try to protect them. I don't understand, especially when you have gone through it. Again, thanks again, Anthony, for another $5 donation to my channel. Appreciate it. Your next question is: does that affect how the kids see their mother? Is grandmother helping them out? Does the grandmother trump the daughter? In many cases, it has backfired. Because these grandmothers who step in and they become the full-time daddy, what happens is either one or two things. I'm gonna tell you what happens, Anthony, in these type of cases. Usually what happens is, one, either that child, their daughter, will become so codependent on them, being that she's decided to step in and be the full-time grandmother. She wants to be the mama and the daddy. She will become so codependent to the point to where now she can't even have a life, because her daughter keeps going out there and producing and having more children, because by her grandmother being cool with it the first time, you know what I mean, that's going to give her the indication, well, hell, I can keep having more children, my mama's still going to support me, she's still going to stand by me. So that's another issue. That also that's another issue that a lot of that happens to grandmothers that put themselves in that position. She'll become so the codependent, she'll just keep having more children. The second thing that will happen is these grandmothers that decide to be the mother and the father, sometimes in many cases the daughter will end up being very disrespectful towards you, because you have basically co-signed on a ratchet behavior. You have supported it. You have not made her be responsible for having these children out of wedlock and at a young age. What happens is now, because you've been so supportive all this time, this young lady, she don't feel like she need to respect you, even though you as the grandmother, you've been there, you've been the mama, you've been the daddy. Now she don't feel like she got to respect you, because you was one of those grandmothers, you thought it was cute and you thought it was funny when she was having her grandchildren, and you was down with it, you was okay with it because you was benefited from it. But when these young girls got out of pocket with you, now you upset because you feel like she disrespecting you. But that's what happens sometimes when these young girls get babies. They think they're on the same level as the mother, they think they're just grown as the mother. um exactly. And then she won't respect men too either. That's another good point, Kojin. And that's what happens. The mother, the daughter will end up being really disrespectful towards the mother, because the mother has basically made herself a doormat. um if not that, yeah, those are the two, those in that instance, those are the two things that I've seen happen the most. Like my first point was, either, she'll basically, uh the grandmother's down with it because she gets the benefits too, or secondly, the child will end up becoming disrespectful towards her, because now it's no longer an appreciation, it becomes obligation. And sometimes as a parent, when your child has had a grandchild and they get so used to you keeping them kids for them where they could go to the streets or go to the club, whatever, and the moment you don't want to do it, now you want to put your foot down, they want to curse you out, they want to be disrespectful and all this other stuff. um so it does affect her as far as the grandmother just makes her more complacent. She'll turn around and have more children, and that has happened. I've seen grandmothers who were so supportive of the first baby that came, then it just encouraged them to keep getting pregnant again. They had the second baby, they had the third baby, they had the fourth baby, they had the fifth baby. They just get more and more and more and more out of hand. That's what happens. There's the grandmother, and in a sense, the grandmother does end up trumping the daughter. It becomes a domino effect because basically they both have used each other. Again, thank you for the other $5 donation, Anthony. You really filling up my church plate, my church collection plate today. I appreciate it. Thank you. For as smart as black women couldn't be, why can't they recognize patterns that don't work and stop doing it? Because it's called insanity, Anthony. It is called straight insanity, stupidity, doing the same thing and expecting different results. It's called stupidity. That's what it is called. Some of them never learn. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I can't speak for all black women, and I'm not saying all black women are doing it, but when I've seen what other black women going through, doing certain things, it derailed me from wanting to make that same choice. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I see what has happened to her. But in some cases, some of us are just too smart for our own good. We think it's going to be different for us. We could see 6, 7 other women who have made that bad choice, and yet we will turn around and do the same exact thing, and then we look for different results. We keep thinking it's going to be different for us, and it never is. We see what our mama went through being a single parent, how the father walked away. We see what our grandfather, what our grandmothers went through when our grandfather decided to walk away, and yet still we will do the same thing. We will find a man, let him knock us up, and he walks away. We looking surprised when we have witnessed other women who have made that same choice. If not, we did it ourselves. Because for one, the reason why a lot of them still keep repeating the same mistakes, because for one, they haven't taken accountability for the first mistake. And when you don't take accountability, you're not going to change anything. Accountability comes with change. Once you take accountability for something, you will change it. The problem, Anthony, is that the majority of us as black women, some of us just do not take accountability. And when you don't take accountability, you're not going to change anything. You can't change something until you recognize the problem and you're willing to be honest about the problem and you call the problem out. If you're one of those sisters that are constantly in denial and you want to act like you ain't got no problems, you want to act like you ain't done nothing wrong. For one, in order for you to change something, you got to first admit that something is wrong. How are you going to change it if you want to see that is wrong? Like for me, for instance, I remember before I got married, I was out dating, and I was in a dating scene for quite some time before I got married and had my daughter. And I just kept kind of realizing, I really wasn't getting where with the guys. I was not getting anywhere with the guys that I was dating. And I couldn't understand for the life of me. I'm like, what's wrong? Every guy I'm meeting, we're just not connecting. And I had to do some soul searching. And I think some of us as black women, we have a hard time with doing soul searching. And for those of us who choose not to soul search, we will find ourselves in the same situation over and over and over until we can get to that point and we can be honest with ourselves. And I know as black women, we have a hard time with being honest when it comes to ourselves. And to be real, to keep it 100, that has hurt a lot of us as black women, not facing our demons, not facing the poor choices that we make. You right, subspuds. Personal responsibility takes courage, and it does, to get to that point to say, this is not working for me. I done messed up. I got to do something different. You got to get tired of you. You got to get tired of being sick and tired. And once I realized kind of where I was going wrong, that's what kind of gave me a different outlook. Like, okay, I got to do something different because I'm dating too many different guys and I'm not getting nowhere with any of them. I'm not connecting. And I had to really kind of really do some soul searching. And once I was able to narrow down the reasons why I wasn't getting anywhere, I didn't have to make that mistake again. Um, oh, again, Anthony, with a $10 donation. Appreciate it. Do you think it's a badge of honor for Black women? Let's see. Um, the next question is: do you think it's a badge of honor for Black women to share dirty Dick Rodney war stories with other women, just so they can shout out how strong they are? I noticed they be embracing struggle. Lord, Lord, Anthony, you was really opening my brain pores today with these questions. It's really really sad, but it's mostly broken Black women that do this. It's the ones who suffer low self-esteem. They think they can only seek validation through the dirty Dick Rodney, sharing their sex capades with other women about all the men they've been with, and the fact that they feel like it's a badge of honor that they're going to get all the props and recognition for it. Embracing the struggle, it's easier to embrace the struggle because um it helps you to avoid having to face your real demons. As long as you find yourself content with your situation and you are content with your struggle, you are happy with your struggle, you will not strive for better. Some people are comfortable being in their misery, because what happens with change means you're going to have to pull things out of you you're not used to having to pull out yourself. Some of the women settle for the dirty Dick Rodney because they know with this type of dude, there's really not no effort. Um, and in their minds, some women think sex is some type of empowerment, which is the most dumbest thing I've ever heard of. But we have a lot of women that thinks having sex with all type of men because of this feminism thing makes them feel liberated. It gives them a sense of empowerment because they feel like I can get as much dick I want, I can get as much wood as I want, I can sleep with as many dudes as I want. And if anything, what she's not realizing is her worth is deteriorating, just like when you get a used car off of a parking lot at a dealership. Soon as you drive off the lot with that car, the value has depreciated. A lot of us as Black women, we're not realizing that the more we partake in promiscuous behavior, our value, our worth is depreciating. Even though we might try to celebrate it and make it seem like, oh, I'm such a strong woman because I get to sleep with all the men I want to sleep with. And I get to share wood with other women and all that. Is, to me, it's just a front, it's a cover up. They're not happy with it, Anthony, like you think. They're not happy with it. It's a front. It's a defense mechanism. It's like an alcoholic saying, I don't have a problem with drinking. I could drink anytime I want. It's a front. And deep down inside, he knows behind closed doors, alcohol is making him sick. He's having nosebleeds. He's throwing up in the toilet. The doctor already told him his liver is in bad shape. But when he gets around everybody else, the alcoholic who gets around everybody else is going to continue to keep drinking and acting like alcohol isn't affecting them. That's the same way it operates. That's the same analogy when it comes to these Black women who like to brag about their sexuality. They like to brag about all the men they get to sleep with. Well, the reason she's bragging about that is because that's all she can get. She can't get a man to marry her. She can't get a man to wife her. She cannot get a man to really love her for her, because she has basically tainted herself. She has built herself a reputation. Dudes are not checking for her like that. If she doesn't have a reputation, men can see just by the physical, um, just by the physical, how she looks physically. They can tell she's been all over the block. They can tell she's been had by too many. They can tell she's been, you know, been ran through basically. So the only way she could avoid feeling less of value, she does so by bragging about how many men she slept with or how many men she done been with. But the truth of the matter is, it's all a front. It's not real. It's just a persona. It's just a mask to cover up and act like she's okay with just being a dumpster. To make it seem like I'm okay with being a dumpster. I'm all right with sharing. Let me tell you something. Don't believe for a second none of these women are okay with being second best. They don't like being second best. I don't care how much these women front about. I don't mind being a side chick. I don't mind sharing dick. I don't mind. It's a front because really, that's the only thing she can say to make herself feel good. That's all she can do. She got to lie and tell herself that. In actuality, she's telling somebody who she really, really can trust, because you got females with all that fronting, but it's that one girlfriend or that one family member who she trusts with everything, who she tells the truth. She has one person who she tells, you know what, I'm tired of being ran through by these different men. I want a husband. I want to be married. It's always that one person she wants to be honest with. It's not in a woman's nature, even though women do it a lot, but it's not in a woman's nature to just be desired. A woman wants to be kept, not had. Okay. I don't care what these females in these YouTube streets is telling you. I don't care if they tell you, I don't need no man, I don't want no man. And I'm not saying that women who say that are all liars, because some women are content with the single life. Like you got some men who are content with the single life. So I'm not saying that's all the case for all these black women. I'm talking about these ones who be lying to themselves and fronting and trying to act like, oh, it ain't no big deal. You get tired of being had. You want to be kept. Eventually you want to be kept. You want somebody to care about you, to value you. Even the most whorish woman at some points wants to be treated like a queen. It's not going to happen, but at some point she's going to want to be treated like a queen. It's in our nature, it's in a woman's nature to be catered to be treated like a queen. But what has happened is a lot of us can't be treated like queens because we're too busy acting like peasants. So that's what we're up against. Freelance sexist empowerment was taught by feminism. I agree. The liberal education system pushes that hard, especially by college humanities professors and women's studies curriculum. Absolutely. Sex is not empowerment. It's not empowerment. If sex was empowerment, let me ask y'all a question. If sex was empowerment, why we got so many single mothers? I'll wait. Poetic says, you're right. I hate to see men. I have a crush on flirting with other women. I'm serious. Women, I mean, by nature, women want to be desired. I do not follow behind women with this mess. I don't want no man. I don't even want no man looking at me. I don't want no man checking for me. Man, please. That is a front. A lot of these women, they have to say that because the truth is dudes aren't checking for them. They got to say that. I've seen, and it's a lot of Shrek sisters. It's a lot of Shrek looking sisters. Them be the main ones that be wanting to sit there and throw shade. I ain't got time for no man in my life. I don't want no man in my life. No, what it is, no man ain't got time for you. No man don't want to be bothered with you. It's always the reverse. When she said, I don't need a man, she really need a man. I don't care if she is independent. Let me tell you something. To be honest with y'all, for all y'all out there, women that are independent need a man way more than a woman who's needy. That don't make any sense to y'all, but I'm gonna tell you why. These women, how the devil caterpillar got on my freaking laptop? That's weird. I ain't seen these in a long time. Women are independent are more needy than women who are needy. Because this is the problem with independent women. Independent women, the thing is, they know they got their own jobs, they got their own cars, they got their own houses, they can buy their own Prada bags and Coach purses. They know that. But the problem is when you are a woman who has a lot going for yourself and you're very self-sufficient, the problem is a man doesn't need to supply you in that area. So that's not where you're missing anything. What happens is you don't want that. That ain't what you want. You want to be able to share those things. Like for instance, what's the use of being a woman making a lot of money and you can buy all type of lingeries from Victoria's Secret. You could buy all type of expensive clothes and nice shoes and bottom and red bottom shoes, and you can buy all this stuff. But who you getting dressed up for? You just getting dressed up for yourself. You're gonna get tired of just getting dressed up for your girlfriends. Eventually you're gonna want a man to compliment you. You're gonna want your man to be like, oh, that looks nice on you. You know, I love those shoes on you. I love how that dress fits your body. You don't want to keep having all this money to buy yourself all this nice stuff just for your girlfriends to compliment you on it. That gets old after a while. I agree, Kujin. And after a while, Kujin, to be honest, she don't even care about her own degree because she gonna get tired of being manless with a degree. She ain't even gonna care about it. It's the independent women are more needy than the needy women, believe it or not, because she got everything. That's it's not the material stuff she missing. She want a man to share it with. What's the purpose of having a closet full of nice clothes and shoes? And the only time you can wear them is if you're going out by yourself or you're going out with your girlfriends. There's no point in that. It's just not. Um, the needy women, on the other hand, yeah, they need money and stuff too, but at the same time, women who are needy, they're used to settling. Needy women are used to not having a lot. So a man could get away with just buying a two-piece and a biscuit, and it didn't mean a lot to her because she's used to being on the struggle. So the needy woman is not as needy compared to the independent woman as you think. Because a needy woman, she'll settle, especially if she's already to the bottom. If she's staying in the project and got 8, 9 little Pookies and Ray Rays, she's not looking for you to take her to Red Lobster. She'll accept you bringing her some Chinese food. That means a lot to her on her level. But a woman that's really independent and stuff, she's more needier because she gonna want a man that's gonna love her for her because she already got too much stuff. She ain't worried about the materialistic stuff because she owns all of that, so it doesn't mean anything. You tell a man about your degree, he looks at you like, and exactly, child, having a degree these days is like saying you got a it's like saying you got a debit card. It's like, okay, big deal. Everybody has one. But what it is, I think the reason why women are so hell bent and always bragging on their degrees and stuff like that, just to give guys out there a few pointers. I think the reason that some black women do that and they always brag on their degrees and brag on their education, a lot of it comes from the point that there's so many trifling females out here who don't have anything, and those are the ones that are standing out the most. You have a lot of raggedy Anns out here who don't have no degrees, who just have a bunch of babies, who have a bunch of baby daddies, and these are the ones that the black men, especially in these YouTube streets, they talk about these the most. These are the women they talk about the most. And when a black woman has done something different compared to um the Kikis and the neat and the Mimis or whatever, um, she tends to toot her own horn. She will pop her own collar because in her mind, I have over exceeded what most people have expected of me, being that I am a black woman. That's why some black women act kind of cocky, and they make their degrees such a big deal because it's so many ratchet sisters out here who are not doing that. They don't care about that. So if to be a black woman and to accomplish that to accomplish that goal and say you got a degree, it to other black men it's like we're being cocky, we're trying to brag, or we thinking that's a big deal. But you got to realize, as black women, to us it is a big deal. Like for me, I got 2 master's degrees. It's a big deal. Now I know when I tell another black man that, he's not going to care less. Like, shh, 2 master's degree, what? But to me, it's a big deal because guess what? Not many sisters can say that. You know what I mean? Not many. That's why a lot of us as black women, we overvalue ourselves when it comes to degrees. Because believe it or not, a lot of these sisters out here, half of them don't even have GEDs. Half of them didn't even graduate high school. And these are the ones that are being bashed on YouTube. We're constantly, as black women, we're being told you're stupid, you're dumb, you're not educated, you're not smart. So the moment one of us gets educated, of course we're going to pop our collar. Of course we're going to brag a little bit. Because guess what? I beat that statistic. Okay, I didn't get knocked up from a Pookie and a Ray Ray. While these other righteous sisters was getting knocked up from Pookie and Ray Ray, I was going to USG. I was making it happen. I was getting degrees. I was trying to better myself. So it may not be that big of a deal, and it may seem like black women with degrees think they the shit and all this and that or whatever. Well, you have to realize why we think like that, because it's a lot of us out here who ain't doing a damn thing. Nothing. A lot of black women can't say that. They can't say they got a degree. All they can say is, I got 6, 7 kids and an EPT card and a WIC voucher. So that's where the extra boasting is. But what we have to realize as black women, even though it is an accomplishment to get your degree or education. You don't have to keep throwing it up in somebody's face like, um, you're better than them. I got master's degrees. I got 2 of them. I don't go around rubbing it and throwing it in people's face or whatever. I mean, I know my worth. I know I'm educated. I know what I've accomplished. I don't have anything to prove to anyone. But you have some black women who have been down on their luck for so long that when they do finally do something great, they got to acknowledge it because it's never noticed. And that's the sad part. As black women, we're not going to be noticed for anything positive. We'll be noticed for the negative first. And I think that's the reason why black women are constantly looking for validation, because we're only validated when it comes to something negative. It comes to something positive, people don't talk about that. We don't. I can make one mistake, regardless of all this good content I'm giving and all this good knowledge I'm sharing. I can make one mistake that can make people forget about everything I've ever did do right. And that's the price of being a black woman. You can do well for yourself, but the moment you make one bad move or you make one bad mistake, people are not going to let up on you. And I think that's the reason why black women, when they do accomplish something, it does get to our heads. We do get big headed. It does boost our ego. But keep in mind, it's not always from a bad place. Some of us as black women, we've been down on our luck for so long, and we're finally happy that something is going right. For once, I've made it somewhere. I did do something good, because it's not just men on these YouTube streets that are bashing black women. You got black women that are being bashed by their own family members. They own black daddies is telling them you ain't good enough, you ain't pretty enough. Black women, we're constantly bashed. And it's not just from the YouTube sector. Our fathers do it in some cases. Some black women, they own black mothers have have criticized them, have torn them down emotionally. A lot of black women, we get ridiculed from our own kind, from our own family. We're told we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough. You're too dark. You're too light. You're too skinny. You're too big. You have too many children. If a black woman doesn't have any children, then they'll say, "Oh, she must be barren. Something must be wrong with her womb. Something must be wrong with her coochie. Her coochie must be bad. She ain't got 8, 9 kids by now. Something must be wrong with her down there." It is just crazy the stuff that a lot of us go through as black women. And I'm speaking in the sense of decent black women. I ain't talking about the hood rats, the raggedy Anns. I'm not talking about them. They're on a whole nother level. I don't empathize with them, but the decent black women, we have to constantly prove ourselves. It's like we are guilty until proven innocent. Um, and that's what comes with it. But at the same time, black community has a bigger issue at hand. It's not just black men, it's not black women. And you're right, Kujin. We need to stop breeding what we can't feed. Don't breed what you can't feed. Black women need to stop allowing themselves getting knocked up by all kind of dudes, knowing they can't afford to deal with the pressure by themselves. And these black men out here need to stop knocking up all these women, knowing how child support is ruthless. Child support will take you for everything you got. They would try to ruin you. They will ruin your business. They will ruin your career. It's just so much we have to be cautious of in the black community. But I'm going to get ready to wrap things up. It's Mother's Day. I got to spend the rest of my evening with my little family and stuff. If I didn't tell you already, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the chat. Also, happy Mother's Day to all of the fathers. that are single fathers who had to be mothers and fathers. Happy Mother's Day to all of you as well. To all of you aunties out there, and if you don't have children, if you've been taking care of other people's children, guess what? You are a mother. So you don't have to actually birth a child to be a mother. Okay, so if you had any type of influence or you took take care of other people's children, you are a mother. Furthermore, before I get ready to shut it down, I am working on my book DNA, Digging Attention. Broken Black women's disease, and I'm also working on deception and lies between black thighs. That's another book I'm also working on, and poetic. And hey, I'm not knocking it, honey. It's a relief. Yeah, I say they're gonna talk about you anyway. If you would have had 8, 9 children, they would have talked about you. You got no children, they talk about you. I'm telling you, being a black woman, the struggle is real. We're not going to get any empathy, so it's very important that we make decisions that we can live with, because we're in a society where society is not having any pity on black women, and they're not supposed to, and I'm not saying that they owe us anything, but as black women, we're going to have to start doing things differently. If not, we're going to find ourselves, being to the bottom of the totem pole as always. So anyway, y'all, I definitely appreciate all the donations. Thank you, Anthony. Dulap. I can't see who all else sent me chats, because I know it was a couple of y'all that super chatted me today a donation or whatever. And so for all who I have missed, I apologize. I thank you all for the donations though, because I can't see who else donated to me. So I apologize. But definitely um I appreciate y'all for coming into this chat with me. I'm going to hit my mom's up. I got to tell her Happy Mother's Day as well. So on that, yo, know everybody, it's been wonderful. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Happy Mother's Day. And remember, this is Lady Mocha. I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'll always break you off with a slice of knowledge. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed one.